Hi there, welcome. I'm Anna Yudin. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology and an author. So I have been getting comments like this week after week after week for literally years. I've had this channel for almost 4 years at this point, and it feels like with time it's actually getting worse. Actually, it feels like ever since I got my doctorate, they have been getting more pronounced because people literally don't think I'm old enough to be a doctor. So I thought I would address these once and for all. Today I'm going to tell you how old I actually am, why I look young, address some of the comments, and also I'll give you guys my current skincare routine since you guys keep asking for it. So the truth about why I look young. The first reason why I look young is because I am young. I just turned 27 years old. I skipped 5th grade. I went into undergrad at 17. I graduated at 21, went straight into a doctoral program, became a doctor of psychology at 26, and now I'm 27. So 27 is indeed pretty young to be a doctor. Some of you might think that's old if you're literal children or if you frequent red pill communities. This is my diploma. This is a photo from my graduation. I feel like I shouldn't really have to prove this, but here we are. I've always just been a very go-getter, on to the next thing type of person, very future motivated. I'm always thinking about the next plan, the next thing that I'm going to take action on. And so that is why I am where I am at the young age that I'm at. So from a psychological standpoint, I find comments like the ones I've been getting about my age to be very revealing about the person making them. I said this in a TikTok video a few weeks ago, but it is always the people who have this like manosphere logic about women hitting the wall after age 25 that consistently mistake me for being 12 years old, 16 years old, 19 years old. Mom, can you pick me up? There was this girl I thought was 12, but it turns out she's 27 and I'm scared. Please come pick me up. Yes, please come take me back to your basement so that I can write mean things about her online. It is very apparent when I read comments like this that it basically comes from a place of insecurity. I'm used to it by this point. I've been in this field for enough to know what it feels like to be sitting with someone who feels insecure about how much they've accomplished in life and therefore doesn't feel comfortable taking psychological advice from someone who is much younger than them and already has more qualifications. It stirs up feelings of inferiority, which it really shouldn't because qualifications aren't all that. You know, you guys, I don't tell people to call me Dr. Anna, Dr. Yudin in my personal life. When people communicate with me about like my courses, my books, and they refer to me as doctor, I always tell them, please call me Anna. The reason I put my doctorate on here is particularly because I want to tell you guys what qualifications I have and which ones I don't. I call myself a doctor of psychology because I'm not yet a psychologist. I'm working on getting licensed. And when I called myself a clinical psychology doctoral student, doctoral candidate, doctoral intern, that was not to show off, oh, look at my qualifications. That was to show what I don't have. That was to show that I wasn't yet a doctor of psychology. But I actually don't think that you need certain qualifications or a certain degree to have something insightful to say or to help other people. I watch plenty of YouTubers that don't have a doctorate or even a master's, sometimes not even an undergrad education, that I find to be insightful and helpful in different ways. So people shouldn't feel bad if they see someone younger than them with more qualifications because it's just formal education. It doesn't mean you don't have something worthwhile to say. But of course, it often comes from a place of not thinking a young woman could possibly know what she's talking about because she's just a bimbo. I mean, look at her. It's honestly pretty funny to me that people are so willing to out themselves in such a transparent and public way with comments like this. So it kind of just reflects poorly on the person who's expressing such disbelief that I could possibly be a doctor of psychology. It shows that they do not think someone who looks like me, for whatever reason, is capable of achieving things. I will say it did hurt a little bit when I first got my doctorate and I changed my name on YouTube to reflect that because the first few comments I got about that were from men, and they were not expressing joy and thankfulness like a lot of the comments are today. They were mostly men, some of them actually therapists, sort of wagging their finger at me and saying, no, you don't get to call yourself a doctor if you're not one. And I had to kind of be like, I'm a doctor of psychology as of today, but thanks though. Thanks for looking out for me. What was supposed to be a day of celebration kind of felt like it was just kind of dampened by people seeming so incapable of believing that I could possibly have the qualifications I have. It was just kind of like this moment of realizing, oh, some people think really little of me. They're so sure that I don't have these qualifications that they're willing to accuse me of lying in front of hundreds of thousands of people. So I'm not gonna lie, it did kind of suck in that moment when what was supposed to be this moment of celebration turned into an accusation and people basically accusing me of being a liar. But by now, most of the people that watch me know I am truly a doctor of clinical psychology, recognize these comments from mostly disbelieving men for what they are, the product of insecurity. All this to say, just be careful, you guys. When you have a preconceived notion about them or you feel like somebody cannot possibly have the qualifications that they say they have because of the way that they look, are you kind of outing yourself? Are you kind of showing your true colors there? Because that's a little embarrassing if you are. I think we are way past the point in society of judging people based on their appearances. All right, with that being said, let's talk about skincare. Before we continue with the video, I just want to mention I have a new relationship skills course out called the Connection Course. It contains over 4 hours or 252 minutes of 15 lectures, as well as 20 pages of handouts. We're talking journaling prompts, exercises, homework assignments, and a community forum where you can ask other students and myself questions about the course or helping apply some of the exercises if you're struggling with them. This course goes into all the foundational skills of healthy relationship that I think are important for people to have, like communication skills, understanding what healthy relationships are, what are the ingredients of healthy love, emotion regulation, how to keep your relationship positive, attachment style, boundaries, conflict management, how to recognize unhealthy relationships, how to end unhealthy relationships, self-assessments, and more. So if this sounds like something that would be helpful to you, I'm going to include a link to it at the very top of the description box of this video. Check it out, it is on LearnWorlds, and I have pay over time options as well. Disclaimer, I think a majority of why I look younger than I am is just genetics, and that is something that's true of people throughout my family. My mom looks 15 years younger than she is, my aunt looks 20 years younger than she is, my grandma is 90 years old and she looks great for her age. There's definitely something genetic in the water. I recently came off of tretinoin after being on it for, I want to say about like 3 years. If you don't know, tretinoin is a prescription strength vitamin A derivative and it has a lot of anti-aging benefits like skin cell turnover, increased collagen, decreased fine lines and wrinkles, decreased hyperpigmentation and impeding melanocytes, increasing the thickness of your skin. So I was just kind of taking it for no reason because every dermatologist I've ever spoken to recommends it for anti-aging, but I did go off of it and let me explain why. And if you are a dermatologist, plastic surgeon, anything of that sort, please fact check me on this and help me understand this. So I heard about a possible effect of tretinoin on the liver, and I looked into it, and there were actually some studies that showed short-term effects on the liver, which don't seem to be harmful, but I've had a couple of abnormal liver results in the past in my blood work, so that just kind of concerned me, and I thought, maybe this is not something I want to continue taking. And in digging further, I found a link between tretinoin and lung cancer in smokers, as well as a study that had to shut down because the tretinoin group was dying off at a statistically significant higher rate compared to the control group. Post-hoc analyses determined that there were other confounding variables and deduced that there was probably not causality between the tretinoin and the all-cause mortality, but it was still a scary thought to entertain. And I realized when looking all this up that the longest study done on tretinoin has only been 4 years long. Like, yes, people have been using this for decades, but most of them have not been using it every day for decades. And if the longest study that's ever been done on this is only 4 years, I don't feel that's enough to safely say if it's safe to use for 30, 40, 50 years. In the context of this being something I might use my whole life, maybe 60 plus years, I'm just not sure that we have enough research for me to feel comfortable with this. You know, I might want to one day go back on tretinoin, I don't know, but for the time being, I was just kind of scared off of it and I wanted to see if I would notice a difference in my skin after stopping it. So anyway, I replaced my tretinoin with copper peptides instead. More on that in a moment. Let me just start off with my morning skincare. And by the way, all of the products that I'm about to mention are linked in my Amazon storefront, which I'll put a link to down below. I get a tiny commission for each product that people buy through that link, but those are genuinely the products that I use. Like, no one told me to put those on there. I get to decide what goes on my storefront. So if you're considering buying any of these products already, doing that through my storefront is just a tiny way to give back to the channel so that I can keep making videos for you guys. So in the morning, I use a vitamin C serum and moisturizer. Vitamin C helps make SPF more effective. It brightens the skin, fights hyperpigmentation, has antioxidants, which again fight fight free radicals. By the way, in case I need to say it again, my doctorate is in clinical psychology. I am not a physician. I'm not a dermatologist. Always take your advice from dermatologists. I'm just telling you what I have independently researched, but I don't have any training in this. I also use hyaluronic acid, which makes the skin more hydrated and temporarily fuller. I always follow up with an SPF 40 or above. And usually for foundation, I alternate between either the NARS foundation or the Ilia foundation, which also has niacinamide and hyaluronic acid. So I usually only wear that one with moisturizer and vitamin C serum. Sometimes I'll put an oil on as well, especially if I'm using the NARS foundation, like this vitamin B oil. For the nighttime routine, like I mentioned, it used to be tretinoin that I started off with. Now I've replaced it with copper peptides, which are supposed to help with wound healing, collagen, elastin production, antioxidants, reducing fine lines. And I've been loving Halo's honey moisturizer and their oil on top of that. I have very, very dry skin. Sometimes there is nothing that will actually stay on my skin because of how dry it is. And these are honestly the only products that don't immediately absorb into my skin. And I love that the oil is just very thick, viscous, honey-like. It also smells like honey. Some people don't like fragrance in their skincare. I personally don't care about that. And before that, I was using a vitamin E moisturizer and vitamin E oil, but the moisturizer was a little bit too thick for me and wasn't absorbing very well. Someone in a different video asked me about my skincare routine, and I linked my Amazon storefront, and people were literally mad at me for linking the products that I use. They were like, don't buy this BS, just use a $5 moisturizer. Okay, first of all, $30 for a jar that literally lasts me like 6 months is not a lot. $30 is like the price of 3 coffees. Secondly, yeah, you probably could get a $5 moisturizer and make it work and be really happy with it because like I said, most of it comes down to genetics. But this is what I use, so I'm not gonna lie about what I use. This is what works for me. This is what I put on my face. So that's what I'm telling you guys about. And if you're watching this, I hope you make the best decision for yourself in terms of whether this is something you want to do. So there you have it. Again, pretty weird that I have to make this video, but I get so many questions about my age that I figured I would finally set the record straight. So hope this clears up any questions you had. I don't know how to end this. Have a nice day.